There's a story that's so rich, so intense, and it's all over in about 30 seconds. It's the story of espresso. And believe me, it's about so much more than just a quick cup of coffee. See, we tend to think of espresso as, well, a flavor, right? A specific kind of drink. But that's not where it started. No, it began as an idea born in an age of steam and of steel. Actually, more than an idea. It was an obsession. It was this deep, driving need to take coffee, this slow, thoughtful ritual, and make it immediate, powerful, to make it feel alive. So, our story doesn't start in some quiet, cozy cafe. No, it starts right in the heart of the Industrial Revolution. You could call it a steam-powered dream. And those first attempts, they were pure chaos. We're talking these hulking metal beasts. Just picture it, massive boilers, hissing and groaning, with pressures so unstable they were actually dangerous to be around. And the coffee? Most of the time, it was just scorched, bitter. The dream of a perfect fast cup was definitely there, but it was completely trapped inside this flawed, volatile engineering. But then, in 1884, we get the first real concrete step forward. A man by the name of Angelo Moriando, he patents the very first espresso machine. Now, it was just a hint of what was to come, a device that used steam to push water through coffee grounds. But this right here was the seed, the very beginning of the whole idea. A little later, in the early 1900s, another innovator, Luigi Bezzera, he adds this crucial refinement. He gives us the portafilter. Yeah, that's the handle with a little basket of coffee grounds that's so iconic today. So the design, it's getting closer, you can see it. But that one big problem, it was still there. The taste, it just wasn't right. Okay, so the foundation is laid, right? We've got the seed from Moriando, and we've got the portafilter from Bezzera. But the two moments that would truly define espresso as we know it, well, they were still on the horizon. First, the birth of crema. And second, the kind of consistency that would finally let this idea travel around the entire world. And this next part of the story, this was the real turning point. This was about the birth of crema. You have to understand, for decades, this was the central problem. Everyone could see the potential, but the tech just wasn't there. It was like they used to say, espresso was this beautiful idea, completely trapped inside flawed engineering. It was a promise that the machines just couldn't keep. And then he arrived, the man who would change everything. His name was Achille Gaggia. And he wasn't just going to refine espresso. He was going to completely reinvent it. So, what was Gaggia's genius? He completely abandoned the idea of using just low-pressure steam. Instead, he introduced a hand-operated lever. And with one pull of this lever, a barista could suddenly create immense pressure, way, way beyond what any machine could do before. This wasn't just pushing water through coffee anymore. This intense pressure was literally emulsifying the oils inside the beans. The result was a shot that was thicker, sweeter, way more complex. And in that moment, something entirely new was born. Crema, that gorgeous reddish-brown foam that just rests on top of a perfectly pulled shot. It's this delicate matrix of emulsified oils and sugars. And it became the visual soul of espresso. This wasn't just coffee anymore. This was an experience. And just like that, an entire culture was born. All of a sudden, Italian coffee shops started to glow with these magnificent chrome machines. The sound, the hiss of the steam, the deliberate physical pull of the lever. It became a kind of performance art. Espresso was now a ritual. It was a proud symbol of Italian style and ingenuity. So that's the Italian story. But how did this intensely Italian ritual become a worldwide phenomenon? Well, it would take one last crucial innovation. Enter the 1960s and the FEMA E61. And this machine, this was a total game changer. It took the hard manual labor of the lever and replaced it with a quiet, efficient electric pump. What did that mean? It meant perfectly consistent water pressure every single time. It also introduced ways to keep the temperature stable. So for the very first time, you didn't have to be a master craftsman to pull a perfect shot. Great espresso was finally reliable, and that meant it was ready to go global. And this new reliability, this consistency, it really set the stage for the final evolution in our story. We're moving away from a story of industrial invention and into the art of extraction.
What happened next was this fundamental shift in philosophy. The whole focus moved away from those really dark, consistent roasts. Instead, people started looking for lighter roasts that could really highlight the unique character of where the coffee came from, its specific sweetness, its natural acidity, its terroir. The goal wasn't to mask flaws anymore, it was to celebrate what made each coffee unique.
And of course, this new way of thinking drove a whole new wave of technology. Machines became incredibly precise. We're talking digital controls for pinpoint temperature accuracy, the ability to actually profile the water pressure to manipulate the flavor, and these delicate pre-infusion techniques to gently prepare the coffee. Brewing became a true fine art. High-end machines turned baristas into artists, and a new generation of home machines, well, they started bringing that same pursuit of perfection right into our own kitchens. Which brings us all the way back to today, to the cup that might be right in front of you, because that seemingly simple shot of espresso, it is anything but simple. What's in that cup is the result of a 140-year conversation. It's this beautiful dialogue between farmers on distant hillsides, the gleaming steel of these incredible machines, and just generations of human curiosity and stubborn, brilliant genius. So the next time you take a sip, just pause for a second and ask yourself, what are you really tasting in there? Is it the chaotic, steam-powered dream of a 19th century factory? Is it the revolutionary pull of Achille Gaggia's lever? Or is it the quiet precision of a modern barista? Because when you really get down to it, espresso was never really about speed. It's always been about depth. It's not fast coffee. It is, and it always has been, distilled history.